What's going on, guys? Welcome back to your afternoon edition of the second stimulus check update and stimulus plan negotiation news. This is Wednesday, October 21st, and we are less than 14 days away from the upcoming election. We're actually 13 days away. So, things are only going to get more intense. Today, we have updates from Nancy Pelosi and the Senate. We also have a better understanding of where stimulus talks are currently at and what the new timeline is going to look like moving into the future. The timeline, the deadline from Nancy Pelosi was supposed to be yesterday on Tuesday, October 20th. However, the two negotiators, Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin, decided we weren't close enough, we didn't get in a deal, and so they pushed the deadline a little bit further back. So we do have news there. Today, we do have some more good news, but as always, anytime we get news that is not an agreement has been reached, a bill has been passed, or stimulus is coming, then it's actually not the best possible news. But it is more good news. We're moving in the right direction. However, it is taking a little bit longer than most people anticipated. This afternoon, we did hear from Nancy Pelosi on stimulus. Nancy Pelosi stated, and I quote, "I'm optimistic that there will be a bill. It's a question of, is it in time to pay the November rent, which is my goal, or is it going to be shortly thereafter and retroactive?" Now, all this tells me is that, yes, we will see a bill. However, the deadline has shifted from October 20th to now November 3rd, which is Election Day. Nancy Pelosi did say that the question is it going to be able to come in time for the November rent, or is it going to come shortly thereafter and be retroactive? I want to address that because I know a lot of people are blowing this whole retroactive thing way out of proportion. Many people are saying stimulus checks will be retroactive. All these payments will be retroactive. The truth of the matter is unemployment will be retroactive. The stimulus check will not be retroactive. We will not see more than one additional stimulus check at this point. We may see an additional stimulus check if the economy is still doing very bad in 2021. We may see an additional stimulus check. But right now, there's only one additional stimulus check. That's stimulus check number 2. So this whole retroactive stimulus check, it's not really a thing. Retroactive unemployment is a thing. However, we need to get this stimulus bill agreed upon and passed first, or else there's nothing that's retroactive. The hardest part about all this is that Congress keeps playing with the Americans' livelihoods, and it's not fair. We were not the ones that shut down the economy, and we didn't ask for any of this stuff to happen. Nancy Pelosi's spokesman, Drew Hamill, also gave some really good updates as well. He said that in a 48-minute phone call today, that Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin continued to get closer to an agreement. That's great. He also said they are closer to being able to put pen to paper to write legislation. That's, again, more good news. We want to see the two sides come so close that it's time to put pen to paper. Based on what Mark Meadows said yesterday, that we are actually getting much closer. And that was essentially what the two sides were doing, was they were going to let the committee chairs negotiate the terms and negotiate the language of the pieces of legislation, and they can start writing the bill. They can start putting pen to paper. So that's what Mark Meadows said. So Drew Hamill is now taking a step back, which is exactly what Mark Meadows did yesterday. He said we were very close, and then he took a step backwards at the end of the day. So right now, I don't know what's going on, just trying to keep you guys updated, trying to wrap my head around everything that's happening because there's so much going on right now. Drew Hamill also stated that the two sides left the conversation better prepared to reach a compromise on several priorities. Now, again, this is more great news. And lastly, he said the two sides will meet again tomorrow for another phone conversation. Again, this is good news, as being closer to putting pen to paper is essential. We need to put pen to paper because as of right now, I have no clue. There aren't reports that are saying that Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin are writing their their ideas down on a notepad. They're putting their ideas down on a text document. They're putting their ideas down on a napkin. We don't know. They could be writing it with crayon on the wall. We have no clue what they're doing, but there needs to be pen to paper. We need an actual bill. The bill is what we need at this point. Drew Hamill also later took to Twitter and posted this. Differences continue to be narrowed on health priorities, including language providing a national strategic testing and contract tracing plan, but more work needs to be done to ensure that schools are the safest places in America for children to learn. This tells me the two sides are getting closer, but the funding and language for schools continues to be an issue. How is the money going to be distributed? President Trump, said months ago, actually more than probably 4 months ago, that schools should not receive any additional funding if they do not plan to reopen. He says it's safe. Even Barron Trump had COVID, and he's tough, he's strong, he's tall, and he got over it. He had it for like 12 seconds. Well, President Trump was not worried, and I get that. He may not be worried, but many Americans still are. So schools need to be a priority. Schools need to be one of the safest places for anybody, not just children, for anybody, for children who go to school, for the staff as well, even parents who volunteer or take their kids to school. It needs to be safe. Now, based on all reports, here's what is currently still being worked on. This is just what we know right now. But every single day, Nancy Pelosi seems to tell us, well, we did get closer here, but now we need to work on this. And so it still seems like Democrats, and specifically Nancy Pelosi, keep kicking the can down the road, and we will continue to work on the entire package. But based on reports, this is what we know. Currently, language for school funding is being worked on. Language for testing and tracing is being worked on. And based on what Mark Meadows told us, this is presumably being done by the committee chairs, which is just a group of people from both the House and the Senate. Also, they're currently working on funding for state and local governments. This has been put on the back burner for now. This has kind of been put in the back seat. However, at some point, this is going to come up and we will need to address this. I do not know how they're going to get much closer unless President Trump and the Trump administration decide, let's just give Nancy Pelosi and Democrats exactly what they want, closer to $417 billion for state and local governments. They also are working on language for liability protections. Nancy Pelosi addressed this yesterday. I think we will get some type of agreement. She also stated that what Mitch McConnell wanted was not going to happen. There needs to be the proper language. So I feel we will see that very soon. There's also funding for unemployment. This has continued to be an issue, but Nancy Pelosi hasn't really addressed this much lately, which I'm really wondering why, unless this is her plan. Let's keep getting closer and closer and closer to the election day. And then I'm going to say, now we got to work on unemployment. We forgot that. We do not agree to $400 per week. We want $600. We also want to go all the way from, let's say, September 6th, clear till January 31st. Well, at that point, once we get maybe days before the election or maybe sometime next week, it's so far down the road. Even if they go and negotiate those pieces, it's going to take them several days as well. So right now, there are 5 things, and also language for tax credits and tax breaks. They need to come to an agreement there. There are 6 things on this list. If each of those 6 things takes, let's say, 2 days to negotiate, that's 12 days. We're 13 days away from the election. So I highly doubt we are going to have an agreement before the election. And that's most likely what Nancy Pelosi wants, because she does not want President Trump to see any win, even the smallest of wins. She doesn't want that, because she does not want another 4 years of President Trump in office. Now, this means that even though the two sides are getting closer to an agreement, they are narrowing the gap. The gap was fairly wide to begin with. Based on what we heard over the past week, everyone was saying that yes, we're very close. However, when you read between the lines and look at what everybody's saying, many people are saying different things. Mark Meadows said we're close here, we're far apart here. Nancy Pelosi says we're close here, we're far apart here. And so if everybody's saying different things, you put it all together, we actually aren't very close to an agreement based on what things were happening at the end of last week and earlier this week. We're actually fairly far apart. Now, we're a little bit closer. But who knows when an agreement is going to happen. One report is indicating that the reason Nancy Pelosi might want to wait until after the election is because the unemployment rate for October will most likely go up. And so by waiting until after the election, we should be able to see, because I think it's like November 6th, I believe. I don't know the exact date, but it's that Friday. We should be able to see what's really happening. Well, I believe it's like November 6th. So on November 6th, we will be able to see what the job rates are, the unemployment rate is for October, which some people are anticipating it's going to go up. It was 7.9% in September, and most likely with the additional airline layoffs, there are a lot of casino layoffs, there are other layoffs as well. Many people are anticipating this number will go back into the 8% range, and if it does, then Nancy Pelosi is more likely to get that $600 per week unemployment benefit that she's been wanting. Because as of right now, like I said, we haven't heard much come from that. There are also reports saying that the reason why we most likely will have to wait until after the election is because Mitch McConnell, as of right now, reports are saying that he would not put a bill on the floor for the Senate to vote on it because it is just too much. He does not feel that the two sides, even if they reached an agreement, he doesn't feel that the bill would be cheap enough or low enough that his caucus would actually support this. And all of these updates are currently happening as we got word that the Senate didn't get the $500 billion stimulus bill passed today. It was actually rejected by Democrats. It was rejected 51 to 47. So every single Democrat voted no. And my guess is there were not even all the Republicans there for the vote either, as there's only 51 and there's 53 Republicans in the Senate. In other Senate-related news, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to vote on the Amy Coney Barrett nomination tomorrow on Thursday. And the full vote from the Senate is likely to take place on Monday, October 26th. Well, there you have it. That is your second stimulus check update and stimulus plan update for Wednesday, October 21st. As always, as I know more, I will continue to share more. So thank you guys for watching today's video. Make sure you subscribe so I can keep you updated, and I'll see you guys on the next one.